The second edition of the college football playoff rankings is out, and you know we got to react to it. We have to react to it and talk about all the things that the committee got right, all of the things that the committee got wrong, and then we got to talk about it just that much more. So let me make sure we got everything right over here and make sure that we are giving you guys everything that you guys need here on the program. All right. So there we go. Much better. Um, so the rankings just came out. This is the second iteration of the college football rankings. And I'm your boy, George Wrighster, Heisman voter. Thanks to you guys. CW analyst for college football, former NFL player, college football player, and and college football dad as well. Pop Warner dad and everything else in between. So yeah, so we got to talk about it. All of the things that the committee got right, all of the things that the committee got wrong. So let's start right now with the committee rankings. So the committee rankings, they switched up a little bit from last week. And one of the things that I loved that the committee did, oh, that's the one from last week. The thing that I loved that the committee did was, and mind you, that's last week's rankings, where you had Ole Miss at 6, BYU at 7, and then Texas Tech at 8. Here is where the committee got it 100% right. This is where they did their thing, because the most important thing that you have to do is reward people winning and reward people doing the right thing. So you had Ole Miss last week play an absolute cupcake game against the Citadel, while you had, and you see on the right, you had the number 7 versus number 18 BYU versus Texas Tech. Texas Tech put BYU in a headlock and gave them a noogie and held them underwater. So, and people thought that Ole Miss should still be in front after playing the Citadel. Hell no. I actually believe that Texas Tech is the number, I can make a case for them being the number 2 or number 3 best team in the country. I'm not talking about most deserving, because that's a difference, because they did lose a football game. And yes, it was without their quarterback, Baron Morin, and it was against Arizona State, who's a good football program, all of those things. But most deserving and best are two separate things. And I believe that they are the absolute, that they are, the second or third best team in the country. So Cincinnati comes in at number 25. USF at number 24, which is significant because you have a group of 5 team ranked. And I do think that James Madison got to be sitting over there like, yo, is nobody going to talk about us right now? Because that's a legitimate shot. They have a legitimate shot to get that group of 5 spot as well. Then you got Tennessee at 23, Pitt at 22, and which creates a very, very interesting matchup for Notre Dame, because people keep poo-pooing on Notre Dame's schedule. How can you bash on their schedule when this is a team that has played Texas A&M? They have played Miami. They're getting ready to play Pitt, which is a good football team. They beat USC. Like, these are, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 ranked games already, and that is more than a lot of teams even play. So to try to belittle Notre Dame's schedule is crazy to me. All right, so then you go to Iowa. Iowa proved that they are a good football team against Oregon. And that's why they stayed ranked, even though they lost the game at home, bad weather conditions, but they showed that they are tough. Then the Louisville, Virginia thing, that's very interesting, because Virginia beat Louisville earlier in the season, but both of these teams are not looking good with the way that they've played. And yes, Virginia, their quarterback got hurt, Morris, last week, but still, you got to win the games. Then here comes that Michigan USC spot, because USC beat Michigan. Georgia Tech at 16, Miami at 15. And now the reason why this is significant is because Miami is the highest ranked ACC team. And check this out. There is a path. Think about this. there is a path for even Duke to win the ACC right now. And honestly, you might not even have a Miami is their potential to make the ACC championship. It is low. It is low right now because they're sitting behind Georgia Tech, Virginia, Pitt, SMU, Duke, Louisville as well. So they are sitting seventh in the ACC right now. So I'm not sure if there's even a path for them to get to the ACC championship. I mean, of course, there's probably some weirdo math scenario, but Duke has a better chance. Duke just has to win out and have Georgia Tech get beat. And one other thing happen, and that's it. And these are probable outcomes. So Duke has a better chance of making the ACC championship. So now peep this. If Duke ends up in the ACC championship, then you're going to have a situation. I mean, and then that Pitt Miami game at the end won't even matter. So now you're going to have a scenario where the highest ranked ACC team in Miami won't even have a chance to get into the college football playoff. Like, I want everybody to pay attention to that. That's why who you lose to and who you beat, it matters, because Miami could end up, they could finish the rest of the season undefeated. They could beat NC State this weekend, Virginia Tech, and then beat Pitt, and still not end up as the ACC representative, particularly if the person that wins the conference game is Duke or, anybody but Georgia Tech, really. Yeah, because nobody else is probably going to be inside of that top 12, which means that Miami will get boxed out. Yeah, and there's not really a path for them. And so BYU fell to 12 from 7 after their loss. Wasn't too mad at that. But the overvaluing of Texas right now. And I want to talk about something that's been going on the television, because I just heard Joey Galloway have the audacity to get on the show with Kirk Herbstreit and say that the Big Ten is closer to the ACC than it is to the SEC. And I was like, Joey, well, I don't even understand why you would say this. This makes no sense. The Big Ten's won the last 2 national championships, and the top of the Big Ten is crazy. And the devaluing, like, they want to value a win by Texas at Mississippi State, but then don't want to give any credit to Oregon for beating Northwestern. What? What? Or and they want to act like the Penn State win didn't even happen for anybody. Even though Penn State is a very talented football team, more talented than Mississippi State, more talented than any of them damn bottom. They're more talented than Vanderbilt. But people want to sit up here and act like that the Penn State wins don't matter for anybody. That is absolute madness and craziness. And you guys hop in the chat too. I'll get to your chats per the usual. All right. Notre Dame at number 9. Miami fans have a big hard time with this, but these two teams are playing in different directions right now. Notre Dame's won 7 straight games. They have another opportunity right now to beat Pitt, and they have been highly dominant. So, and yes, I do feel like, yes, it's a little bit of bias and all of this stuff, because it is when you lose, because now they're trying to rank the teams that are going to go into the playoffs and do a good job. But you're not going to have that same type of feeling about somebody if if the last thing that you saw from them is negative. It's just not. Um, so I didn't mind Oregon at 8. They still have plenty of opportunities left. Ole Miss at 7, Texas Tech at 6, and McElroy made this point where I've been giving Texas Tech a lot of credit. Texas Tech has a case to be number 4 or number 5 in the country. You can't like everybody is pretending like Alabama's this undefeated team. They lost to Florida State. Yes, they're playing better football now, but we can't act like that. They are like if we're looking at losses, Texas Tech's loss to Arizona State without their quarterback is significantly better than Alabama's to Florida State. Like, let's not even get that twisted. And then Georgia lost to Alabama, so they're kind of boxed in there. And then Texas A&M at 3. Texas A&M is a good football team. If I were, I would take Georgia over Texas A&M. I would not take Alabama over Texas A&M though. And truthfully, and then you got Booger making it. Oh, Texas A&M should be number one. What? The best win in college football this season, you would have to say is okay. You could say Alabama over Georgia because they are number 5, but you got Indiana over Oregon. That's probably the best win of the season, and then followed up by Ohio State, Texas, and then followed up by Texas A&M over Notre Dame. Those are the best wins of the college football season. So we can't sit here and act like any of this other stuff is reality. And also, one of the things that people conveniently leave out that SEC people used to love to talk about is the FPI rankings. And the FPI rankings are, the College Football Power Index. And they have Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Oregon 3. But then people will sit up here and tell you that, and then USC coming in at number 10. What other Big Ten team is in there? Michigan at 18, Iowa at 19, Penn State at 21, because this is what we've been taught. LSU at 22, and yeah, so on and so forth. Washington at 26. So when we're trying to judge conferences, you got to pick your poison. Because the same thing that you used to want to, brag about is the thing now that everybody is looking at and judging you by. And you guys make sure that you like, subscribe, get notifications, tell a friend about the show. Somebody said Ole Miss should be behind in the chat. Ole Miss should be behind Oregon. I can make a case for that as well, but also in terms of what you've seen on the field, but Oregon, because of their schedule and because of the way Penn State has performed, they're not getting the credit that they probably deserve. Not gonna lie, shocked that they kept Iowa in. I can see that as well. Yeah, good point. Texas lost to a terrible Florida team. Yep. And it's interesting because the AP poll reacted, and this is why, and before we get to the games, this is why a point that I've been making for a very long time matters. You have people who will tell you, don't worry about the rankings. They'll all work themselves out in the end. The AP poll isn't important. These things matter. The rankings matter, and you should be outraged when the rankings are goofy. You should be. Even in the AP poll, you should absolutely be outraged. And the main reason is because the AP poll, it shapes talking points, it shapes the early season ranked wins, it shapes all of the narratives surrounding things. And it actually influences the initial college football playoff rankings. And then the AP poll then reacts to it, reacts to the rankings, and then the college football playoff resets it. AP poll reacts, but the AP poll is always a week late. And I believe, because there's a lot of people that bash the AP poll and how terrible it is and all this stuff. Here's what I believe with all of my heart, that the AP voters, they are good people trying to do the best that they possibly can. However, the majority of them are beat writers. Like they will follow Alabama's beat, Missouri's beat, Penn State's beat. So, and those people are sitting at the games, in the stadium at the games, focused on that particular game because they have to write stories about it that are due immediately after the game, within 5 minutes of the game being over. And then they have to get in, then they got to go to the press conference, talk to the coaches. So they have very little time to watch a lot of the other college football programs. A lot of the times they are scoreboard watching. And this is why I say it's no knock to them. I believe that they're trying to do the best that they possibly can. And but the people who watch more football games, who are invested in college football, people like myself, Heisman voters, people who are consistently doing this, who've dedicated their life to this, those are people who would be better suited to be voting for the AP. And that's no knock against AP voters because they are wonderful people. They are trying to do their best. However, you have a higher task that is above the AP poll, which is covering your college football beat. If you cover Michigan or USC or whatever it is, that comes first, as opposed to watching more games across the country, which is going to flaw your rankings. Or you're only seeing teams that are in your conference play. Welcome to my TED Talk. All right, so here is the way the CFP shakes out right now. And I find this very, very fascinating because you have the home playoff games would be Georgia, South Florida, Oregon, Notre Dame, Texas Tech, Miami, Ole Miss, Texas. And in those games, according to DraftKings, you would have Texas would be favored over Ole Miss. Texas Tech would be favored over Miami. Oregon would be a point and a half over Notre Dame. And then Georgia would be like 17 and a half above South Florida. Then you would have a rematch of Georgia, Alabama. You would have either Oregon or Notre Dame versus Ohio State. And I do believe that and I'll talk about that game in a minute because I think that there's an important narrative there. And this is something that I believe to my core. And then you got Miami, Texas Tech, which I think would spit out Texas Tech versus Texas A&M, which would be a wonderful matchup for a whole lot of reasons. And then you have Indiana would be playing likely Texas. So I love it. I am all in on that. I am all in on every single bit of that. Now, I wanted to talk about this Oregon game for a second. To get to the biggest sporting events, concerts, or any other event, use every single ounce of my being. I believe that when you are a team like Oregon, just like when the Golden State Warriors were on the come up and they had to go through the Clippers and the San Antonio Spurs to be able to win their first championship because those are the people that kept knocking them out of the playoffs. If like the Dodgers, the first time that they won, you got to go through the Cardinals because they kept knocking them out of the playoffs. If you are Oregon, I believe to win a championship, you got to run through either Georgia, Alabama, or you got to get Ohio State. That's the way it's going to be. There's going to be no easy path there. I believe that when you are a team that's trying to overcome history, when you are trying to change the trajectory of everything, even though Oregon's a fabulous program, like you have to be able to do it that way. Just like if Texas Tech, if they won a national championship, they got to go the hard way. Like when Clemson was trying to win, they had to go through Bama. You have to go the hard way the first time to be able to break through. I believe that with every single ounce of my being, 100%. Because that's what life has taught me. Like to break sports curses or to change your history in sports, you got to do something special and different. It's just I believe that with every single ounce of me. All right. Now we got to talk about the games this week, the Week 12 college football games, and you guys make sure that you swipe up, like, share. I see your comments there. We will get to them. All right. So the first game that we have to talk about this week, and we will have a preview on this on the channel as well, is USC versus Iowa. This game is so fascinating, and I love it because you got USC, and mind you, these are the AP rankings from this week. No, sorry, the rankings from last week, but these are the teams that you got. So you got Iowa versus USC, and this game is in the Coliseum. USC fans are feeling real good about this game. They are looking at Iowa. They are discounting Iowa after that Oregon game. And both of these, you got USC, who's 5-1 in the Big Ten. Iowa's 4-2. The weather should be good. They're upset that this game is on Big Ten Network, and I get it because this is a ranked game on Big Ten Network. But the contract says that you got to have teams, that you got to have at least one conference game on the Big Ten Network. And USC, I mean, they could have threw one of them other games on there, but they did not. And now you end up with this, which is good for the Big Ten Network. So the weather is going to be good. USC's field is good. And USC is favored by 6.5 points in this game, while the total is 49.5, which means that they believe that this is going to be a lower scoring game, but that USC could break it open a little bit. So 49.5 really puts us at what, 31 19? No, 39-19. So it's going to be tight. Now, we got the number 2 offense in the country versus, in terms of yards per game, versus the number 4 team in yards per game allowed. This is a styles make fights game. Something has to give in this situation. Is it going to be Lincoln Riley with that ridiculous fake punt? And I covered that this weekend because that was absolutely, I still stand behind it. That was Bush League. Putting the punter, the backup quarterback, in the same number as the punter, putting him in punter cleats and all of that. Yeah, that's whack. That is 100% weak. But anyways, Kirk Ferentz versus Lincoln Riley. This is a test for USC. We're going to know who USC is after this football game, because against Illinois, lined up and ran them over, but Illinois could throw the ball better. I was going to line up and play in a phone booth. They're going to play special teams. They're going to get the ball to wet gin, everything else. They have to figure out a way to do that. So I am going to take Iowa plus 6.5 in this game. I know USC people are going to call me a hater, but it ain't even about that. It ain't even about that. What it is I believe USC will squeak out of this game, but that Iowa is, but they are going to have a gut check time. This is going to test everything that Lincoln Riley and his team believe that they are, because USC's confidence, I believe, is fragile right now. Jaden Maivia, when they've played good defenses, has not played well. And Iowa is going to test. They are going to stress and test the fundamentals of USC. And we're going to see what they are about. Just telling you. And because USC, are they soft? Are they not? Blah, blah, blah. All right. We gonna find out. All right. Next game up, we got Oklahoma, Alabama. Now, mind you, Alabama lost this game last year, and this was a game that everybody was expecting. Alabama was going to wipe the floor with an Oklahoma team that was having trouble, with the forward pass last year. Alabama's favored by 6.5 points. This is at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Alabama's at number 4 in the college football playoff rankings. Oklahoma, I believe, is number 11. And the market says about this game, Bama by a touchdown. We got Brent Venables. DNA is clear. It is defense. And their offense has not been the same since John Mateer's surgery. Their passing yards are down. They haven't run the ball real well all football season to begin with. And this is going to test every single bit of Alabama and Kalen DeBoer. I am going to pick the upset here. I am picking Oklahoma plus 6.5, and also Oklahoma to win this game because styles make fights. Oklahoma is going to be able to stop Alabama from running the football. Why? Alabama don't run the football that well. It's not even the players, Jam Miller, or like they have some good backs. The offensive line and the scheme are not doing their job right now. And now you're in a situation, you're going to be up against Brent Venables, and he's going to put together a plan that should be effective against this past game. They're going to get pressure, get in Ty Simpson's face. This is going to be a low-scoring affair. A low-scoring affair. The total on this game, think about this. The total on this game is 45.5. It's almost 4 points lower, or is 4 points lower than USC Iowa. Think about it. That's how you know this is going to be a low-scoring game. And Kalen DeBoer, if he loses this game, then you're going to have them flip-flop spots. Alabama's going to be looking at about number 11 and potentially out of the college football race. Think about that. Alabama's going to be looking at number 11 or somewhere around there, somewhere in the Notre Dame, Texas range. And that, like, what are they going to do at that point in time? Look it. And remember, I'm the person that said Alabama was going to miss the college football playoff this year. And with the way their record is right now, this would be a heartbreaking way to do it. To lose to Oklahoma and then lose the Iron Bowl. Oh, God, I wouldn't want to be Kalen DeBoer then. Would not. But the X factors in this game, it is going to be the hidden yardage. It is going to be all of that. It is going to be all of those things. It's going to be the hidden yardage. It's going to be special teams and turnovers. But whichever team can run the football the best is going to win this football game. That's who's going to win the football game. Whoever runs the ball the best between Oklahoma and Alabama. So y'all drop in the chat. Who do you believe is going to win this football game? I see in the chat somebody said Jed Fish is going to move to LSU. No, do not believe. I stand on this. Jed Fish, unless something weird happens, will not be leaving Washington. I feel good about that one. And y'all know when I tell you I feel good about something, there's a reason why I feel good about it, if you feel me. Next game up, we got Texas versus Georgia. This game is important and this game matters. Georgia is ranked number 5. Texas is ranked number 10. Georgia is favored by 6.5 points in this game. This is like a convenient theme in this game. Over under 48 and a half. 48 and a half. And that puts you in a situation where this game is important because this game either puts Texas back in their place or it confirms what everybody thought in the preseason, where Texas comes in number 1 in the nation. It confirms that they should be in the college football playoff if they win. If Texas loses this football game, it is going to show the world, like, hey, yo, Texas, you cool and all, but we can't ignore that loss to Florida anymore. All right, because they are completely ignoring Texas's loss. to Florida because they beat because they beat Oklahoma. And for some reason, the Kentucky and Missouri wins are carrying a lot of weight. Carrying a lot of weight. But they're gonna sit here and try to tell us that Florida game don't matter. Come on, man. Absolutely not. So if Georgia and Texas in this football game, Steve Sarkisian, Kirby Smart, the way that Georgia's defense has been playing the last couple of weeks versus Arch Manning, whose confidence, he's starting to get it going, has put some good games together. Is Georgia going to put Arch Manning back in and Steve Sarkisian, quote unquote, back in their place? Because this is what the outcome of this game is all about. It's what it's all about. Because Arch is getting hot, 2,100 yards, 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions versus Gunnar Stockton's 2,015 touchdowns and only two picks. But this Texas team, they're choppy in the red zone. And that's not going to cut it versus Georgia because Georgia is going to find a way to put the ball in the end zone. They are. This is going to come down to which defense wins the game. And which team is able to run the football because Georgia's spotty. Nate Frazier had a great game last game. But the Texas secondary should be able to handle Zachariah Branch. So this game is going to come down to these defenses and who wins the turnover battle. So who do you have in this game, Georgia or Texas? Put it in the chat. Oh, 3 weeks of Roll Tide crying about that they're the best team ever. Hey, man. They got a lot of championships. They feel good about themselves. All right, next game we got to talk about. We got to talk about Oregon versus Oregon versus Minnesota. This game is in Eugene. Guess what, Duck fans? Might be raining again. This will be your third straight rain game. And the Big Ten has not done their best teams a whole lot of justice right now because Washington, USC, and Oregon all had away games before then hosting a Friday night game at home against a team coming off a bye. So they're playing a team on a short week who just came off a bye. All right. And the SEC would never do this to Alabama, Georgia, Texas. They wouldn't do that. Not a single solitary chance. Just saying. So you got this. And this, if you are a college football fan, you've heard the term Pac-12 after dark, this is that sort of game. And this is the kind of game that would get Oregon fans nervous, USC fans nervous. They were nervous last week versus Northwestern, and they should have been. Pac-12 after dark, when you are playing the 7 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday, Pacific, that's 10 Eastern, or the 8 o'clock, or you are playing on Friday night, that's when weird stuff happens. All of the numbers, because Oregon's number is started out at 21.5, it's ballooned all the way up to 25.5. So we can't sit here and act like, Oregon is favored to dominate this football game. Minnesota's offensive line has not been playing very well. They're having trouble running the ball and protecting their young phenom quarterback, Drake Lindsey. They're going to try to steal this kid out of the portal. Somebody is, I'm telling you. He is, if you put a good offensive line in front of this kid, I'm telling you, he is the truth. One of the truths in college football. I'm saying, like, he's what you thought DJ Lagway was going to be. Or any of these other hotshot 5-star quarterbacks that have not panned out. He is who they are. Or he is who you thought they were. Yeah. So this Minnesota team, the last time that they played Oregon was 2003 in the Sun Bowl. And mind you, in 99, they played them in the Sun Bowl. The 99 season in the Sun Bowl as well. Oregon won that one, but Minnesota won the next one. PJ Fleck has done a great job. He is actually quietly being sought after for some of these head coaching jobs. And he has done a great job of not bringing it up. And the reporters around there clearly haven't asked him about it too much. He turned down UCLA, and other people are asking if they're calling in to check on PJ Fleck. Hey, big head, what you think? What would you think about coming down to to Baton Rouge? You know, coming to Arkansas, coming to Virginia Tech, coming to Penn State. What you think? What you think? Now, I know he likes living on Lake Minnetonka, so that's good for Golden Gophers fans. But this is the dude who has elevated the floor of this program. The floor of the Minnesota program is higher than it has ever been. But I have a whole preview on this game. So go on the channel and check that out. But I got the Ducks to cover the number that it was at when I started, which was 21 and a half. So I got the Ducks laying 21 and a half. They will dominate this football game, even in the rain. This will be a this will not be a trap game, even though it has trap game written everywhere around this football game. So yeah, so keep your eyes peeled. If this game is within one score at halftime, Oregon fans should be afraid. I'm just telling you. All right, the next game that we got to talk about, Notre Dame versus Pitt. So Eli Holstein started this season for Pitt as their quarterback. But now they got a whole new quarterback, Mason Heinzel. And this kid is a freshman, but in the true version, versus CJ Carr, redshirt freshman, over there at Notre Dame. The future is bright for both of these quarterbacks. Heinzel, 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns, 5 picks. Threw for 304 and 3 touchdowns versus Stanford. CJ Carr, hyper efficient. He has just been getting better and better and better every single week. And their head coach, Marcus Freeman, made the right decision by not going to go get another transfer portal quarterback and letting this kid play. Because not only will he start this year, he will start next year, and he will be in the Heisman conversation next year. But the question is, can Notre Dame keep it up? Because this Pitt team continues to get better. They continue to get better because when you look at this Pitt defense, their front is nasty. They're only giving up 80.9 yards per game in rushing. This is one of the best rushing defenses in the entire country. In fact, they are third in the country. But the secondary, on the other hand, they're giving up 97. They're 97th in passing yards allowed. And so this is going to be a very interesting game because Jeremiah Love, who is probably the best back in the nation right now, he is going to have a tough time running on Pitt. And if Pitt is able to stop the run, that does not play into Notre Dame's strengths because Notre Dame being able to run the ball at a high level is how they are able to win. Them not being able to run in the beginning of the season against against Miami, they only ran for 33 yards. That's part of the reason why they lost. Well, Jeremiah Love only rushing for 33 yards is part of the reason why they lost. Because you can have the best back in the whole world. If you don't block for him, you got nothing, fam. You got nothing. And Notre Dame has to finish drives, be efficient in the red zone, because they rank 123rd in the nation in finishing drives in the red zone. You cannot trade touchdowns for field goals on the road. Now, and the X factor in this game for Pitt, stop committing so many damn penalties. They are 129th in the country in penalty yards per game. That could be 60 to 100 yards a game. And you just give Notre Dame free first downs, that's not going to cut it. Notre Dame is favored by 11 and a half points in this game. I believe that Marcus Freeman knows how big this game is. I like Pitt to stay inside the number, but barely. I think Notre Dame wins this by 10 points. And y'all hop in the chat. Who do you think wins, Pitt or Notre Dame? Somebody in the chat, Jeremiah Love for 200 yards and Notre Dame by 20 points. Oh, Lord. Oh, you just want JMU ranked higher than the ACC champ, so they get the 5th spot. Oh my gosh, that would be crazy. That would absolutely be crazy. If that happens. So for everybody who understands that there is a world where the ACC champ finishes below the group of 5 champion, which totally changes everything. So I if that happens, Notre Dame folks are going to lose their ish. I'm sorry, ACC folks, they are going to lose their ish. So all right, next game that we have up that we got to talk about. And you guys make sure that you like, subscribe, get notifications, and tell a friend. Now, I was going to put this in the zero doubt category game, but with the way that Wisconsin did Washington last week and the way that they performed against Oregon on defense, this could be a closer game. Now, the difference between Indiana and Wisconsin and Indiana and Penn State is Penn State's offense, even though it is inefficient, it has not been good, it has not been high level, it is still significantly better than what Wisconsin is putting out on the field right now. But Wisconsin's defense is significantly better. And Indiana's offense struggled against Penn State. And people sometimes forget, they completely forget that Indiana's offense, it's not this high flying passing offense. Fernando Mendoza's only thrown for over 300 yards once this season. This is an offense that is built upon being efficient, staying in front of the sticks, and running the football. They've had 5 or 6 300-yard rushing games this year. That's what Indiana wants to do. They want to line you up and check to make sure your chin strap is tightened up. Check your chin strap multiple times a game. And on defense, this Indiana this is where they are a defensive running the football team. That's who Indiana is. They just have a quarterback who is accurate, makes good decisions most of the time, even though he does have some fourth quarter picks. But still, this is what Indiana does. And Kurt Cincinnati, they have an opportunity to if Wisconsin can force turnovers, that is what Wisconsin has to do. They have to try to find a way to score on special teams, fumble recovery, pick six, something. That is the only way Wisconsin stays in this game. Indiana is favored by 29.5 points. No chance they hit that number unless it's 30-0, which is possible. I am going to take Wisconsin plus 29.5. This feels good. This feels like a layup. This feels like a lock of the week kind of game. And it's not because Indiana's not the number 2 team in the nation or dominant or anything like that. This is just because this is going to be tough. It is 100% going to be tough in this game. But Luke Fickell, ever since the school gave him the vote of confidence and said he's coming back next year, it's a miracle. All of a sudden, his team has played better. People getting healthy. They have a great linebacker crew. Their defensive line is good as well. I'm telling you, I wanted to put this game in the no doubt game, but then I was like, it could be an upset alert. But I always look at paths to winning. Wisconsin's path to winning all surrounds probably multiple scores not involving their offense, or somebody got a corner got to fall down, something like they got to get something, some help in that area. All right, next game up. And now this one is an important one. This game is an important one. We got South Carolina, Texas A&M. Now, Texas A&M is favored by 18 and a half points in this game. It's in College Station. South Carolina's 3-6. Everybody keeps talking about Lenore Sellers and the NFL draft. If y'all don't stop talking, if Lenore Sellers goes to the NFL draft, we're watching Anthony Richardson 2.0. He's just I'll go 2.4 because he's better than him, but it still ain't good. This is still not the level that you need. He is not ready for the NFL. Is he talented enough for the NFL? Yes. I feel the same way about Dante Moore over at Oregon. The talent oozes out. I believe that Dante Moore should be, that if I were drafting, I would pick him number one this year, and next year as well. But the difference is that neither one of those dudes is ready. Out of the guys in college football right now, I don't love my draft options at the top, but they're probably Fernando Mendoza and Ty Simpson in terms of the most NFL ready. All right, so in this game, and remember, SEC teams, they get a lot more credit for beating 3-6 teams because they won't give you credit for beating a 3-6 South Carolina Penn State team in the Big Ten. Oh, but that South Carolina team, that team's tough. That is not an easy win. Bro, they stink. There's a reason why they're 3-6 and 1-6 in the SEC. It ain't like that they're playing, Alabama every single week because that's not what they're doing. Their head coach, Shane Beamer. This team is scrappy on D, but it's the worst SEC offense. They're worse than Kentucky. And then you got Mike Elko, who has gotten this Texas A&M team to believe. He's gotten Marcel Reed to play efficient football without turning the ball over quite as much. Almost 2,200 yards, 19 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. But he is only completing 62% of his passes. To beat Texas A&M, you have to keep Marcel Reed in the pocket and force him to stand back there and throw it. Because if he has to stand back there and throw it and he can't run all over the place, he will throw you the football. But the question is, what will South Carolina do when they get the football? Not very much, because that's what they've done all season, is not very much on offense. Because they're averaging as a team under 300 yards total per game. Iowa's averaging more yards than them per game. They're 129th in the country, only averaging 19.7 points per game for 120th. Just saying. All right, but then you got Texas A&M. They're 24th in the country, only allowing 317 yards per game. And Carlisle Howell, kids got over 10 and a half sacks right now. And that front is nasty. They are nasty. They are disruptive. And South Carolina's offensive game plan, I know that they fired their offensive coordinator, but we'll see. We'll see if it's any better. But until we actually see that it's better, I will not believe that it is better. And South Carolina has the propensity to turn the ball over as well. Say good. Lenore Sellers has only thrown for 1,500 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 5 picks this year. Just saying. Every part of this game says Texas A&M wins this football game. But here's the thing. South Carolina hasn't just gotten their doors knocked off too many times. They are having. So when you're playing a team that just doesn't really get their doors knocked off, it is tough. So they lost to LSU by 10. They lost to Oklahoma by 19. Bama by 7. Ole Miss by 16. So this 18 and a half number feels about right. But I'm going to give South Carolina a little bit of credit because of their defense. And I don't feel like Texas A&M's defense is elite. So I'm going to give it to you. South Carolina plus 18.5. Y'all drop in the chat who wins this football game. All right, next game up. We have Florida Ole Miss. I know we're a little SEC heavy right now, but Big 12, we're getting ready to get to you. So Florida Ole Miss. Florida's 3-6. Ole Miss is 9-1. And Florida has already fired their head coach. They have benched DJ Lagway last game. We don't even know who is going to start. He's got 12 interceptions. Lagway's got 12 interceptions and 11 touchdowns. He's getting a new fresh start this season. He came into I told everybody Florida was going to struggle because DJ Lagway missed all the spring ball, came into fall camp hurt, couldn't really throw. But the question is, how much was he being taught or how much was he in the film room? So it's either coaching or playering or a combination of both. The kid is still young. I believe that he can. I mean, he has all the talent in the world, but there's some humbling that has happened. And he might need to go to Louisville if we're really being honest with the quarterback whisperer, Jeff Brom. That might be the answer for him. That might be the answer for him. He needs to go somewhere where somebody is known for quarterback reclamations. That if DJ Lagway was my son, that's what we'd be doing. We'd be over there in Louisville probably. Or I try to get him with Will Stein, another quarterback whisperer guy. I'm getting him there. I'm getting him a head coach that can build up his confidence, show him how to be a leader, teach him to watch film, all of these things. Because if you have that type of talent and you're willing to put in the work, you can do it. But he's going up against Trinidad Chambliss, 13 touchdowns, 2 picks on the season, almost 2,400 yards. He is the perfect quarterback for this Lane Kiffin system. He's running. He's elusive. He's accurate. And after that Georgia game where he melted down in the fourth quarter in the biggest game of his life, he's been, when they've gotten in front of big crowds again, he's calmed down. And that's actually a very promising sign for Ole Miss because but it is going to be Ole Miss's defense that dictates this game because Florida is bottom 10 nationally in third down conversions. And Ole Miss is top 20 on third down stops. And if Florida can't run ball, if they can't get him some running lanes, this game is going to get 100% ugly, which is what I believe is going to happen. Ole Miss is favored by 15.5 points, and I know that this Florida defense is good, but I don't believe that their offense is going to be able to score. This game is going to get ugly. And then people are going to be questioning whether Ole Miss should be back into the 6th spot in front of Texas Tech or depending on what happens in that Alabama game, even though I picked Alabama to get upset. You know what I mean? So that's going to be interesting as well, and I like it. All right, next game up. For all you people who have waited, let's talk about this Big 12 situation. We got TCU versus BYU. BYU is favored in this game by 4.5 points. When me and Ralph were talking on College Football Apostles at the beginning of this season, he said, to his credit, BYU is going to start 7-0 or 8-0 this season, and then everything is going to hinge after they play Texas Tech, and then they got to play TCU. And that it was all the back half of their schedule that was going to be the gotcha for them. That you were going to find, well, he predicted them to fall apart. And they passed one test with Iowa State. And they passed the Utah test. Now, Utah had been playing very, very well at times, but, still, BYU's a good football team. But now they got to play TCU with Josh Hoover, who's going to be throwing the football, against their true freshman Bear Bachmeier in number 47. And when you watch the Texas Tech game, BYU was able to move the ball at times, but it was like between the but between the 30s. No, it wasn't even between the 30s, but between the there for it was like a wall was drawn on like a wall went up on Texas Tech's 35, and you can play anywhere you want to on the rest of the field. You just can't go past this line right here. And that's the way the game went. I am going to take TCU to upset BYU in this football game. Kalani Sitake, Sonny Dykes. You got the air raid versus the old raid. Because this BYU offense, it is built upon efficiency, getting first downs, running the football. There's not, and yes, they got JoJo Phillips back at wide receiver, but this is not the most dynamic offense that you've ever seen in your whole life. Therefore, because Hank Bachmeyer, oh no, Bear Bachmeyer, excuse me. He's 1,800 yards, 18 touchdowns, four picks, while Hoover is sitting at about 2,700 yards, 23 touchdowns, 8 picks. So he will throw you the football a little bit. Will Josh Hoover? But I put Josh Hoover on that list of quarterbacks that if I was Miami, if I'm going in the portal, going all in like people are talking about, that's one of the people I'm kicking the tires on. I want to see what he's talking about. But I am going to take in this football game, give me TCU to upset BYU. And this is going to be one of them games that changes the college football rankings a lot. A lot. You guys make sure that you like, subscribe, tell a friend about the show, and hop in the chat. Let me peek in this chat right now. Half of the top 15 is in the SEC. Yeah, 100%. Man, I appreciate y'all that y'all love the show. Somebody said Anthony Richardson is going to be a great wide receiver 3 one day. No, he won't. He'll retire before then. But I told everybody the NFL needs a developmental league. I would have told Anthony Richardson, and this is a whole nother side note, a quick tidbit. I would have told Anthony Richardson, if I were the NFL, if I were the Colts, I will name you my starting. I would have told him this a year ago. I would say I would have named you my starting quarterback. Pick up your 5th-year option, but you got to go play in the UFL because you need reps. If you don't want to do it, we will bring in Daniel Jones. We will have a quarterback competition, all them things, but you'll be our starting quarterback if you do this. If not, all right, man. So be it. So be it. Now we got to go to the upsets for this week. These are the games that I'm putting on upset alert. People are probably screaming right now. Michigan minus 12.5 at Northwestern. Northwestern is an insanely difficult place to play right now because there's nobody there. It is, Michigan fans will be there because it's a close drive down to Chicago. To Evansville? Yeah, right outside of Chicago. It's basically Chicago. It's closer even for Michigan fans. So their fans will be there, but this is a hard place to get some juice. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. It's going to be a slobber knocker of a game. It is exactly the way both of these teams want to play. They don't want to throw the ball a whole lot. This is going to be a running the game affair. And the question is, which one of them is going to do it? Oh, wait, no. Excuse me. I lied. This game is at Wrigley Field. Ooh, so it is going to have some juice. Never mind. I'm taking Michigan in this game. I apologize. I am wrong. I put Michigan on upset alert. They should not be on upset alert because this game's at Wrigley Field. If it were at Northwestern, I would 100% have them on upset alert. But because it's at Wrigley, there's going to be some juice in the air, which the juice then favors Michigan. But Bryce Underwood, he's been good at times, but he looks like a true freshman. And I have talked about this Michigan team for 2026 is the year you got to point out, but it has to come down to what is going to happen with these Michigan players and what they're able to do on offense in the passing game. Because if they can't display to transfer portal players that Bryce Underwood is going to throw the ball 25, 35 times a game so they can get their yards and their stats. He's going to have a tough time. And Michigan is going to be the same team that they were. Great on defense, run the football, issues throwing the ball. That's my only concern about this team because we're getting toward the end of the season. I need to see more out of Bryce Underwood, more positive. But on the Northwestern side, Preston Stone, stop turning the ball over, man. He's only completing. I mean, they're both completing 60% of their passes. But Preston Stone, 11 touchdowns, 9 picks. USC, he didn't throw a pick, but it just like he just can't make the plays that you need to. And this Northwestern team, they are top 25 in scoring, and then they are legit versus the pass as well. But they've leaked on third down. And that's where it's going to be decided. Which of these teams is going to be able to convert better on third down? But I got Michigan in this game and with the 12.5 points. All right, the next team that I got on upset alert is I got Virginia on upset alert because their quarterback Morris is in concussion protocol. And I told you before last week when Virginia was on upset alert last week, Cinderella slippers falling off at some point in time. Virginia has already had a fantastic season at 8-2. I think they finished at 9-3 probably. But this Duke team with Darian Mensah is absolutely Darian Mensah, this kid is special. And every team in the nation looking for a quarterback is going to be trying to get a dude that has 2,800 yards, 24 touchdowns, and only 4 picks. And he may not want to stay on a team, but he's making potentially $4 million. But he may be like, I can go win a national championship. There's a lot of teams after me right now. He is going to make a mint in the offseason either at Duke or somewhere else. So y'all can book that. But so this Virginia team, they are top 25 in the nation on third down percentage at 47.5%. And Duke's defense is in the bottom quarter of the nation in terms of third down allowed at 41%. Then they're poor in the red zone as well. And that favors Virginia. But it is Mensah to Barcate. It is a matchup that Virginia and Tony Elliott, they are going to have to double. And when they do that, then running lanes are going to be open for Shepard. And the Virginia defense is better than last year, but they're not elite at denying explosives. Come on, man. And if Duke hits 4+ plays to 20 yards, they're going to control it. So, on the season, though, Virginia's +5 in turnover margins. And then when you add in that plus their penalty yardage, they're one of the top 25 teams in the nation as far as that. Virginia doesn't beat themselves. I am going to pick Duke plus the 6.5 in this game. Duke plus the 6.5. Virginia might sneak out the back door only if Morris plays. If Morris plays, Virginia can sneak out the back door. And they might actually cover that 6.5. But if he does not play, Duke is the play. All right, the next game up. Baylor is hosting Utah. Utah's running game is phenomenal. Kyle Whittingham, he's trying to retire. He's trying to retire, but he cannot go out on a bad note. His DNA won't allow him. And they are this close to being in the college football playoff right now. Just this close. Just get on the way home. And I picked Utah to I picked them to finish second in the Big 12 because I picked Iowa State to win. Yeah, I said it. I picked Iowa State to win in the preseason. No, I picked Kansas State. Even worse. But Utah is going to have a shot. They're going to have a shot to get into the Big 12 championship game. and play Texas Tech again. And I know they want to see them again. I do, because Utah can play better than they played against Texas Tech. They absolutely can. But their quarterback, Devin Dampier, who has thrown for 1588, 15 touchdowns, 5 picks, he reminds me a lot of Demond Williams at Washington. I think Demond's a better passer, but a lot of their specialness comes because of their legs. And the danger they create with their legs gives them additional time in the pocket and gives them opportunities to make plays on the run when defenders don't know whether to close on them or, defend the pass. And in this game, Utah is favored by 8.5 points. Sawyer Robertson and his defense, because Robertson is one of the nation's leaders in passing, 2,700 yards, 26 touchdowns, 7 picks, and Utah's defense has not been elite this year. And Michael Trigg and Davis for Baylor, those dudes are matchup problems. And if they can block Utah's edges like daily, you're going to be in trouble. Because if Utah can get you behind the sticks, all them dudes are hellacious rushing the ball. I'm sorry, rushing the passer. And if Utah can get in third and shorts on offense with this offensive line, they are going to dominate this game. But I don't believe Utah covers this 8.5. Baylor is going to be a tough out because they're going to be able to score points. But Utah wins this football game, even though that they are on upset alert. And then the last upset alert game is NC State versus Miami. And you might be like, George, why is NC State and Miami on upset alert? Because every game Miami plays, they should be on upset alert. That's why. This game is in Miami Gardens. Miami's up to number 15 in the rankings, and people are starting to give them some respect again. But you just don't feel good about this. And Dave Dorn, NC State's head coach, he needs this win. He has to get to a bowl game this year. They're sitting at 5-4. If he does not, there could be another head coach opening in college football if he is not able to find a way to get his team to a bowl game, because he's been there for a while and people are thirsty. So this is going to be how well Miami's defense holds up against these RPOs. NC State feels like this feels like a game very similar. This feels like a game very similar to the Louisville game, except for Louisville's defense is significantly better. Miami is favored by 14.5 points in this game. I think they cover, but I do want you to just be alert that they could lose this football game. Last thing we got to talk about, the zero threat games. We got Texas Tech versus UCF. Texas Tech is going to knock the absolute doors off of UCF. They are going to take them, put them in a headlock, because this defense is unrelenting. There is a 0% chance they get upset in this game unless Baron Morris goes out and then the backup to the backup goes out. They might be able to win this game with their defense. And UCF fans, y'all can clip it, y'all can be upset, but the facts are the facts. The next game up, UCLA, Ohio State. No, this is going to make my wife mad. She's a UCLA fan. UCLA going to the shoe. Oh, this is going to get nasty. This is going to get nasty. Because they're not going to be able, and truthfully, USC's, I want to see how UCLA's offense is going to do against Arvell Reese and Caleb Downs and the rest of this Ohio State defense. Because Nico Iamaleava, who got beat up by them in the playoff last year, we was playing at Tennessee. Now his team is worse, and they're going to the shoe. Ohio State's rolling. I want to see how Nico plays in this game. I want to see his toughness. I want to see his heart because he has a chance to make himself some more money this offseason. But I hope he stays at UCLA because the new coach, whoever the new coach is, they're going to want what they've seen on tape because he's got a heart. He wants to win. And he is a dude. He's a kid who's being bashed out in the media right now. But the reality is he's a dog. Nico Iamaleava is a dog. No, people don't want to admit it, but that's the truth. You got Georgia Tech, Boston College. No doubter. This is not. I mean, Haynes King. He's got to be he's close to the top of my Heisman leaderboard because he's carrying this Georgia Tech team, but he won't have to carry them that far in this game. Yeah, because I'm sorry, Bill O'Brien, but people have lost hope. All right, over in the comments. Oh, y'all have been absolutely doing your thing out in the comments. You guys make sure that you guys like, subscribe, get notifications. I have told you guys, I appreciate everything you guys are doing. You guys are here. We're almost at 25,000 subs. So tell a friend, share the video with a friend. I want to be able to get us to 25,000 subs before we're at 24,910 at this moment. I'm hoping that we can get to 25,000 before the Saturday night show. So you guys make sure that you subscribe, share, tell a friend, and everything else. And we got video coming out tomorrow. Video coming out tomorrow that y'all want to hear because Josh Pate. There was a Twitter account that came out this week talking about Josh Pate. Oh, he's just a bald white dude in a t-shirt, and people are wondering, they're like, he didn't play college football, didn't coach, wasn't a journalist, all of these things. And I got to tell you guys the truth about Josh Pate, and that'll be on the video tomorrow. So that's a good teaser for you guys. Peace out. Catch you guys later.